All right, good morning and welcome to Southwest Louisiana. My name is James Hyatt. I'm with For a Better Bayou, and we are standing here just north of the Interstate 210. Just behind us, you can see the casinos, the Golden Nugget and La Berge, where right now, at this very moment, the America's Energy Summit, a collection of LNG companies and the government, including a panel from the local delegation, the Natural Resources Committee, the Secretary of the Department of Conservation and Energy, are all meeting together with companies from around the world in a casino. Meanwhile, they have not met with us. What's happening in Cameron Parish right now should worry every person in Southwest Louisiana and across the country. The very agency that's been tasked with regulating and permitting the build out has failed to meet with the fishermen despite what has been going on. A dredge incident that happened almost 2.5 months ago that spilled mud into the estuaries, into Big Lake, that has not been mitigated and has not been taken care of. They have not even held public meetings with us. According to the mission statement, the department claims to be committed to remaining a national model for how energy and development and conservation and natural resource management is supposed to work together. How they're supposed to be responsible stewards using data-driven regulation, practical solutions, and transparency. There has been no transparency, and today we're going to hear from local residents and fishermen who have been directly affected by the continued build-out of these natural gas plants. Here in Southwest Louisiana, we already have 3 operating liquefied natural gas, or LNG. LNG also stands for lies and greed. We already have 3 operating terminals. 2 more are under construction, and across the Gulf Coast, there are plans for over 2 dozen. Out of the 6 that are operating, 3 of them are in Southwest Louisiana, and we have not seen any kind of benefit. There's no prosperity. It might be good for a few, but it ain't good for almost all of us. And so we're going to be hearing today from a few of the fishermen, and I'd like to start. Who's supposed to speak? Eddie, you're going to speak first. I'm sorry. Here we go. Eddie Lejeune, who's a captain, who can introduce himself. Been fishing here for his whole life. Speak loud.
My name's Eddie Lejeune. I've been a commercial fisherman all my life, and Hackberry is where I live at, and in Cameron Parish. We've had incidents upon incidents that's been happening for years since these plants had come in and these massive ships has washed away our estuary. As we speak, there's conferences going on at the Golden Nugget with the important people of our state. And these important people of our state that we're asking to seek to come talk to the fishermen or talking to the LNG people. We need senators and representatives to hold a meeting with us to hear our side of the story and see what's going on with us. Since this last dredging incident has happened, the fishermen are suffering. The productions are way out of sight down, and we see mud every day. That's little wind blows up like today. It was so muddy out there. But anyway, the struggle is real, and we need our representatives and senators to hear us. I feel like there should be compensation to the fishermen for what has happened to our estuary. Global Venture has said there's been no wrongdoings on their parts. The fishermen has created and got the evidence. We've stuck together, and we know what's happened. Wildlife Fisheries knows what happens, and we just need some people to listen. These plants need to be put in their place. These massive ships need to slow down. Our estuary needs to be fixed before it's too late, which is probably too late, but we need to start now. Thank you.
My name is Solomon Williams. Been a commercial fisherman since I was 16 years old. My daddy was a commercial fisherman. He's 81 years old. They still live in Cameron. We still go to Cameron. We still fish. We try to make a living, to live with these plants. These plants make promises that they don't keep. They made this dredging incident, and they didn't even know about it. We had to find out about it on our own. And we got our governor, you know, not just the governor, but all the high people here are meeting with these plants. They want all the money they can get from the plants, but can care less about people's lives. You know, they gonna be able to feed their families, and we not. We can't feed our families like we supposed to because we can't fish, because LNG has done come in there and ruined that. And they steady ruining it. They're making their promises that they're gonna clean up the mess that they made, and they promising that they're gonna take care of the fishermen because of what they cost the fishermen to lose in their livelihoods. I don't think it's fair that they should be back there meeting with the high people and paying them off to get the okay to get these permits, and just walk over the regular people, the human beings that actually got to live there and all this. You know, I think that they should be talking to us. They should be finding out what our views are and not the high people's views, you know, because we the ones got to live there. They're going to live in their mansions away from the plants. We the ones got to live in Cameron Parish. We the ones got to fish there. We the ones got to eat the food. We got to drink the nasty water. We got to smell the nasty chemicals that's coming off of this plant every day, every time we go out. We the ones got to dig up them oysters and the crabbing and shrimping, and commercial people going out there fishing, and they eating this stuff. Well, once you get sick and wind up in hospitals like my mom and dad be all the time, you know, once you wind up with cancer, then you're gonna wish you'd have never put them plants there. But as long as you a high dollar person and got all that money and they shoving all that money to you, you not caring about what's gonna happen to your health. You know, and you don't care about the little man. You know, you making your dollars, you feeding your family, but we having problems feeding ours because that's our livelihood, and the plants are taking it away from them. And I think they need to accommodate the fishermen for what they already done messed up. You know, I do. I think they need to slow down these vessels. They need to, some kind of way they need to put a cap on what's going on with LNG. We got one too many of them. They putting one in Lake Charles. They got putting 5 or 6 of them in Cameron. We having problems with the one they already started, CP2. Dredging incidents, spills, you know, and then they tell you it didn't happen. So I just want you to know that we need somebody to step up for us and not for the rich. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sky Lazy. I'm not from Cameron. I moved to Cameron when I was about 18 years old, and I've been working on a boat just about ever since then. Where I come from, it wasn't like Cameron. Cameron's like Green Acres, you know, to most people, and it's beautiful. You go there and you can relax, you can enjoy anything you want to. You know, it's kind of like a getaway, or it was, and now it's more like a work vacation, I guess you could say. There's never been traffic in Cameron. You know, it takes about 5 minutes to get anywhere there that you want to go. Now it takes about 35 minutes to get past all the people that are there. We go without gas probably twice a week because we got one gas station. And these people making almost $180 million for every ship that leaves that dock 3 times a week. Okay. Now, it's their people that are there, and it's our problem that we don't have what we had before they got there. But I think if you were in my town, or if I was in your town rather, and I was using up everything that you had, I'd feel obligated to replace it. If I was breaking your stuff at your house, I'd feel obligated to fix it or replace it. You know, I made a comment a while ago. They got a no-wake zone sign right there in this little part of the lake. I don't know if y'all can see this, but there's nothing right there that a boat going 100 miles an hour would affect. It might wash out a couple gravel. These ships are like 1,000 feet long. They suck water for a mile, okay? They do about 30 miles an hour sometimes through parts of that ship channel. I know that. We rode on the side of one of them doing 27. That's insane. They've got a however many ton tugboat behind it that's dragging down the channel trying to slow it down. Because they don't even realize it's there. They don't even care. The waves are about 5 or 6 feet high. I don't know if you know what that's like on the bank, but it's gonna knock you off your feet for sure. It's gonna tear out. I mean, we see trees floating off the bank every day. Every time a ship passes, there's 4 or 5 trees break off the bank and suck down the river. Coastal erosion. Like, man, it's caused by us, by them. You know, these people are bullies. They had this breach in the levee with the mud. We are part of an oyster farm. We grow oysters in Cameron, in Calcasieu Lake. It's probably about 24 acres big. We farm probably roughly 8 acres of that. They have another guy that has 12, and they have another guy that has however many acres that he has. We were responsible for roughly 5 million oysters before this mud spill, okay? And went through all of them. Whenever we noticed it, we washed them, we put them back in the water, we picked them back up the next day, and they were completely full of mud again. We lost about 80% of those 5 million oysters. Without going into numbers, like, that's a lot of money. That's everything that everybody that was part of that was dependent on. And since it's gone, now the people that are responsible for it have found themselves digging in their pockets to pay the people that they were supposed to have money to pay. You know, they had money to shrimp. I work on a shrimp boat. Me and the guy I work for go shrimping every day. You know, we can't barely catch shrimp. We don't even have anybody in Cameron left to sell shrimp to because the numbers are so pitiful. Nobody even wants to be there to waste their time. They lose money by buying shrimp in Cameron because there's not enough of them for them to make any money off of. That's pathetic. We used to have more shrimp than anybody else in the parish. If you eat seafood, think about where it comes from. If you're trying to save that much money, then donate it to us. Donate it to somebody that'll help us get this word out. These people in there talking about us, they're not representing us. They can't represent us because they don't know what we want. They never spoke to us. I mean, I don't understand how you can tell somebody what I want if I ain't never told you. They see what we need, they're not doing it. That's all. I mean,
Good morning. My name is John Thomason. I'm a commercial fisherman. I've been a fisherman for 60-some years. I've been a commercial fisherman for 60-some years. I make my living by that. I feed my family by that. We're having a problem now because we can't catch no oyster, can't catch no shrimp. So we're having a big problem down here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And it's been kind of hard. The bills keep coming every month. People looking for their payment every month for these bills. If we can't support our family, how can we do something? No. We need help and we need it now. People talking, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. I haven't heard nobody come to the commercial fishermen, sit down and see what the problem is. They're talking to other people and stuff like that. But commercial fishermen, it's got to live just like everybody else do. So I'm just posing my opinion. I can't talk for nobody else. I'm speaking for my family. We need help down here. Somebody got to do something. These plants is taking over. They're polluting our area, they're polluting the air, the food that we eat and everything. Everything you look at on TV now is polluted. So something got to be done. So what's gonna happen? Pollution is gonna run us all away from here. That's all I got to say.
Good morning. My name is Alyssa Portaro. I am the founder and director of Habitat Recovery Project, and I'm humbled to be here today with the fishermen of Cameron Parish. Cameron Parish was once the fishing capital of the United States and has fed America for generations. And now it is home to the largest gas build-out in the United States of our lifetime. Impact to fishermen is undeniable, as you've heard from these stories just now. We also have trip tickets that prove that. They are the ones with the pulse on the habitat, the migrations, the eyes on this ecosystem, and they deserve to be listened to and their expertise on this ecosystem to be honored. This past year, the Calcasieu River was designated as one of the most endangered rivers in America due to the legacy pollution. And still, at the America's Energy Summit, our leaders, our politicians and industry leaders are in there conspiring the destruction of this river. When is enough enough? This America's Energy Summit has had fishermen outside of it for 3 years in a row now, asking to be heard, asking to have meetings, asking to have a seat at the table, and that consideration has not been bestowed upon them yet. Is there a conversation happening in there about the remediation necessary for the industry development that they are speaking of? There are solutions, and the community members here today have ideas and want to be heard. One of those is time of year use restrictions on the ship channel, where we can limit the amount of dredging and loud construction like pylon driving that is impacting migrations. When you're fishing, you don't want to stomp on the bottom of the boat and scare them away. These fishermen know that shrimp migrations used to come up here to the 210 bridge that we are next to. Now they no longer go north of Cameron LNG and Hackberry up the river. All the fishermen have been forced to move south, and they are doing things about it. We have a citizen science program with Habitat Recovery Project and the Fisher Family Advisory Council, where we are using hydrophones to measure industrial impact on migrations with underwater noise pollution. We have been taking samples of the water, and we are doing the work to see what is impacting these habitats because our administration is failing to do so. We are asking to have a conversation. We're asking for support from the community, and we welcome anybody willing to learn about this more to reach out to us and get to work with us and see what's happening down here. All of America needs to have their eyes on what's happening in this habitat, and this gas that's being shipped out of Cameron is going around the world to other countries where there are also fishing villages being impacted, and we want to connect with those too. To everyone in there, we invite you to come out on the boats to see for yourself, smell for yourself exactly what is happening, and let's work together to figure out how we can make things safer for the fishermen and for the billions of heartbeats that navigate the Calcasieu River during migration season each year. Thank you.
One of the things that's going on in this space has happened time and time again every time polluting industry has come into a community. One of the first things that they do is they promise jobs and prosperity. Those are empty lies. There's some jobs, but it's displacing what was already there, and it's not taking care of the community. The only way that this can happen is by complicity by banks, international banks, our government, and these corporations. Japanese mega banks, MUFG, Mizuho, SMBC, are all deeply tied to these LNG export terminals. They have invested and given money in the form of loans to continue the build out all along the Gulf Coast. Just this morning, we heard that the Ukrainians met with Venture Global to specifically talk about taking more gas, more fracked gas from the United States. This is not without harm to the coast and to the people. European banks like ING, Intesa Sanpaolo, Eni also have given money. And American banks are also complicit in the destruction of our coast and the giving away of our future. Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Citibank, and Wells Fargo are all complicit in what's going on. The banks talk about sustainability. The Department of Conservation and Energy talk about sustainability. There is no sustainability if we continue to allow companies to do whatever they want and just pay a fine and not have to actually be good stewards of the land. So what happened? What just happened? Just a small example of what has happened so many places. Right here in mid-July, while they were dredging for the ship, for the loop to allow for them to bring in the foreign-made parts that will make up CP2, they were pumping mud into Cameron Prairie National Wildlife Refuge, into a containment zone that was supposed to hold all of the sediment, and instead, that sediment escaped. Venture Global was executing that permit, and that sediment got out from where it was supposed to stay and build beneficial marsh. It got out into the estuary. It got out into the big lake where it smothered the oysters, completely covered crab traps, and caused who knows how long that harm will go on. Dead oysters, you've heard, dead oysters, dead crabs. The Department of Conservation and Energy have not held a meeting with the people to talk about what has happened, to talk about what is the remediation they're going to take care of. That is unacceptable. These agencies are supposed to work for the people. They're supposed to be working for the constituents. Maybe we can find a balance between industry and people. But instead, they put people over profit. They don't put people over profit. They put the profit as the most important thing. This is Louisiana. The people behind me and the people who live here love this place. This is sportsman's paradise. Some might think it's turning into a polluter's paradise, where polluters and profiteers from elsewhere can get away with whatever they want to do. And this is where leadership matters. This is where the people have the power. We are the ones who vote in those elected representatives, and they are responsible to answer to the people. People united, coming together and organized, can overcome big money every single time. Governor Jeff Landry continually says how he wants to do good by the people. He wants to protect the fishermen. And yet time and time again we have seen that he is not standing up for the people that live here and work here. We see with this carbon capture sequestration scam that is being pushed by this same Department of Conservation and Energy and the same governor. He is not listening to the people who do not want more harm in this state. Louisiana ranks 50th in the Quality of Life Index. If oil and gas is so good for the people, don't you think we'd be a little higher on that list and we would not be exploited and extracted from? We deserve transparency, accountability, and protection for our communities, our coastline, our ways of life, the livelihoods that depend on this. We cannot keep letting big companies make mistakes, deny the damage, and move on like nothing happened, while the fishermen and the communities and the families that live here and have for generations pay the price. When the Department of Conservation and Energy and the governor says that they're committed to transparency and stewardship, prove it. Prove it. Because right now all we see is a government that protects the industry from the people and refuses to protect the people from the industry. Our waters, our coasts, our communities, our children, our future children, all deserve better. The continued extraction and exploitation of our coast is over. We are done with that, no matter what they're saying in that building back there. They're worth fighting for, and that's why we're out here today, fighting for our communities and the future generations.